If we don't make self-improvement a way of life, that means we are consciously being intentional about our day. We are evaluating ourselves. We're being aware of how we're experiencing life. We're being aware of our thoughts, our feelings, emotions. We're directing those things and taking responsibility for those things a little bit better. And we choose to do that over and over, even after the bad days, even after we screw up, even after our scores suck, even after we feel terrible. What ends up happening is those folks change their life. Sometimes there's life circumstances that just kind of shake you up. You know, many of you guys know my story. I'm here because I had a car accident when I was 19 years old. And it knocked some sense into my young man's head and said, hey, life can be incredible. You just don't know how to do it, kid. You're going to have to learn to live. You're going to have to learn to love. You're going to have to learn to matter. And I had to learn how to do that. And even if you heard that story before, you probably never heard me say this part, which is because I speak all the time and I've shared that story literally thousands and thousands of times, I've had thousands and thousands of people come up to me after events. And one of the sad but tragic and real things that happens sometimes is people come up and they say, Brendon, I hear your car accident story and you changed your life. I had a car accident. My car accident was worse than yours. Or I had a car accident. It was the same as yours. Or I had a car accident and I should have had a realization, but they all say the same thing. I had this situation and it didn't change me. Why? People ask me that all the time in interviews. Why do you think that you had a car accident that changed your life, or you've had these brain injuries, or you've had these traumas and you shifted from it, and other people have that same experience or even more of a wake-up call, but they don't wake up? Why? Why is it some people have the same situation and it's a wake-up call to them and it shifts them and changes and it actually causes a transformation, sometimes called post-traumatic growth, and other people, same situation, nothing changes. Well, they've studied this in psychology and they've found a lot of interesting things that you would say, of course, well, for some people it mattered, it meant something. For some people, there was this going on in their life. For some people, they were in this age. Some people, they were, in this, this mental or emotional state or stage. And unfortunately, psychology usually is not in charge of long-term development, right? Most psychology studies are very short-term. And even the long-term ones aren't measuring for what makes the transformation. They're more conceptual and they're more survey-driven. But here's what you would find if you actually coach people and you work with people over and over and over again. You know what you find? The difference maker isn't the event, how transformative or traumatic or even the meaning at the event. What changes for people is if after the cue, right? The cue is the triggering event, the situation. After that, if after that, they make personal development, or what we say, self-improvement, a way of life, the changes happen. The transformation is sustained or manifested. If we don't make self-improvement a way of life, that means we are consciously being intentional about our day. We are evaluating ourselves. We're being aware of how we're experiencing life. We're being aware of our thoughts, our feelings, emotions. We're directing those things and taking responsibility for those things a little bit better. We're entering situations and social situations in ways that are a little more intentional or a little bit more graceful, or what we'll talk about today as purposeful. And we choose to do that over and over, even after the bad days, even after we screw up, even after our scores suck, even after we feel terrible. What ends up happening is those folks change their life. They made it a habit to grow after the inciting incident. After the thing happened, they took in this idea, I got to learn, I got to work on myself. I got to prioritize my wellness or change my behaviors or treat people better. And it became a habit of growth. That is what we do here at Growth Day. We make self-improvement a way of life by giving these tools and these coaching, these sessions, all of the amazing community opportunities. We do that because if this is a way of life, you grow. You can't grow from something one time. Just like you don't put a seed in the ground and water it one time with a Coca-Cola and think that thing's going to grow up into something outstanding. And that's what most people do. There's a seed of change. They pour poisonous mindsets, poisonous habits, poisonous people on top of it. And they're like, I don't know why it's not growing. Well, A, you're poisoning the plant. B, you didn't realize that it had to be cultivated. Personal growth and purpose is something to be cultivated on a very regular basis. Otherwise, you lose touch with it. Just like most people say, I lost my motivation. I go, you didn't lose your motivation. You lost the practice of paying attention to the things that matter to you and using your mind to rev you up for those things. That's all. You started going through the motions, and so you lost the motivation. You can still do the same thing, but instead of just going through it unconsciously, bring conscious intention. By bringing purposeful being to a thing, it changes. Well, as you learn to make being a purposeful being happen on a more regular basis, I promise you can shift. And that's the hopeful message for today. I know sometimes you watch something like this, you're not in a good mood. You don't feel good. There's been a travesty. Something's going on in the world you don't like. And your day is just kind of like all over the place. But that's why we're here. It's like constantly doing the work. I would love for you to all type this in either your journal or the chat or the comments right now. I love constantly doing the work. Actually, write it down. I love constantly doing work. You have to teach yourself. I love constantly doing the work. I get in an argument with my wife. I'm like, ooh, I love constantly doing the work. Like you have to keep generating the ambition and the engagement and enjoyment of doing the personal development work. You know, I walk out of a conflict or an argument with somebody and I have to go recenter myself. I'm like, okay, Brendon, chance to learn, buddy. What do you got to learn? How can next time be better? How do I really want to show up? How can I repair this? How can we improve the situation next time? How could I approach it differently? What can I watch for next time to make it better? Let me try. You got this next time, Brendon. Be graceful for today. You got this next time. A little more intention. Okay, here we go. Just over and over and over. Giving yourself the grace to learn, to enter the next situation more intentionally. That's the stuff of purpose.